Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Ashtotara Shatashish Modest Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Shri Prahlāda Uvacha Matirna Kṛṣṇa Parataha Svato Va Mito Vipadyeta Griha Vritanam Vedanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Puna Punash Charvata Charvananam Shri Prahlāda Uvacha Matirna Kṛṣṇa Parata Svatova Mato Bipadyeta Griha Vritanam Vedanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Puna Punascharvata Charvananam Shri Prahlāda Uvacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvato Va Mito Padyeta Griha Vritanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Shri Prahlāda Uvacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvato Va Mito Bipadyeta Griha Vritanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam
Shri Prahlāda Vacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvato Va Mito Vipaddeta Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Punascharvita Charvananam Shri Prahlāda Vacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvato Va Mito Vipaddeta Griha Pratanam Adanta Govir Visadam Tamisram Punascharvita Charvananam
Shri Prahlāda Vacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvato Va Mito Vipaddeta Griha Pratanam Adanta Gobhir Vishadam Tamisram Punascharvita Charvananam
Shri Prahlāda Vacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvato Va Mito Vipadyeta Griha Pratanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram Punascharvita Charvananam.
You could chant. Shri Prahlāda Uvacha. Prahlāda Mahārāja said, Matihi, inclination, na, never, Krishna, unto Lord Krishna, Parataha, from the instructions of others, Swataha, from their own understanding, Va, either, Mitaha, from combined effort, Abhipadyeta is developed, Griha Vritanam, of persons too addicted to the materialistic bodily conception of life. Adanta, uncontrolled. Gobihi, by the senses. Vishatam, entering. Tamisram, hellish life. Punaha, again. Punaha, again. Charvita, things already chewed. Charvananam, who are chewing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prahlāda Mahārāja replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Purport. In this verse, the words Hiraṇyakaśipu refer to devotional service rendered to Krishna. So-called politicians, erudite scholars, and philosophers who read Bhagavad Gita tried to twist some meaning from it to suit their material purposes, but their misunderstandings of Krishna will not yield them any profit. Because such politicians, philosophers, and scholars are interested in using Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle for adjusting things materially, for them constant thought of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is impossible. Hiraṇyakaśipu. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:55, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through devotional service can one understand Krishna as he is. The so-called politicians and scholars think of Krishna as fictitious. The politician says that his Krishna is different from the Krishna depicted in Bhagavad Gita. Even though he accepts Krishna and Rama as the supreme, he thinks of Rama and Krishna as impersonal, because he has no idea of service to Krishna. Thus, his only business is punascharvita charvananam, chewing the chewed again and again. The aim of such politicians and academic scholars is to enjoy this material world with their bodily senses. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that those who are grihavrata, whose only aim is to live comfortably with the body in the material world, cannot understand Krishna. The two expressions, grihavrata and charvita charvananam, indicate that a materialistic person tries to enjoy sense gratification in different bodily forms, life after life, but is still unsatisfied. In the name of personalism, this ism or that ism, such persons always remain attached to the materialistic way of life, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:44. Hare Krishna. Bhogeshvar prasaktanam taya parhita chetasam vivasayatmaka buddhi samadau na vidiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Those who are attached to material enjoyment cannot be fixed in devotional service to the Lord. They cannot understand Bhagavan Krishna or his instruction, Bhagavad Gita, Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamisram. Their path actually leads toward hellish life. As confirmed by Rishabhadev, Mahat Sevam Dvaram Ahor Vimukte. One must try to understand Krishna by serving a devotee. The word Mahat refers to a devotee. Mahat Manas Tumam Parta Daivim Prakatimashritaha Bhajantyananya Manaso Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Bhagavad Gita 9:13. A Mahatma is one who is constantly engaged in devotional service 24 hours a day. As explained in the following verses, unless one adheres to such a great personality, one cannot understand Krishna. Hiraṇyakaśipu wanted to know where Prahlāda had gotten this Krishna consciousness. Who had taught him? Prahlāda sarcastically replied, "My dear father, persons like you never understand Krishna. One can understand Krishna only by serving a Mahat, a great soul. Those who try to adjust material conditions are said to be chewing the chewed. No one has been able to adjust material conditions, but life after life, generation after generation, people try and repeatedly fail. Unless one is properly trained by a Mahatma, or unalloyed devotee of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's understanding Krishna and his devotional service." Om Jnanativedandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvanmalitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitavachalam Pangam Langai Girim Yat Kripata Maham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitadanam Vancha Kalpadibishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, translation again. Prahlāda Mahārāja replied, "Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or a combination of both." The first time Srila Prabhupada went to London, devotees went there before him, and they met George Harrison and John Lennon and started the Hare Krishna movement there in London. And when Srila Prabhupada went there, he first stayed at John Lennon's estate in the countryside, and he met John Lennon there and his wife Yoko Ono. Is that her last name? I guess it's all just her first name, huh? Why does everybody always, you call somebody, I guess you call him John, people have a tendency to call him John Lennon or George Harrison. I guess Yoko Ono, I guess she's 90 years old. I guess people, with famous people, sometimes they call them by their first and last name. George Harrison, John Lennon, Yoko Ono, or whatever. So Srila Prabhupada met them, and they had a conversation for about an hour, maybe about 2 hours, and John Lennon was asking different questions, and Yoko Ono was asking different questions. And one of the questions John asked was, how does Krishna consciousness relate with music? And then Prabhupada, he said, oh, it's very much related to music. And then he said, we have the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna sang the whole Bhagavad Gita. We have the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then there was a harmonium nearby, so Prabhupada pulled the harmonium and he started to sing. And Shyamasundar Prabhu said he sang for about 5 minutes with his eyes closed. And it was, he sang this verse that we just read today, over and over and over again. Yeah. And maybe some devotees knew what Prabhupada was singing, maybe some of them didn't. But John and Yoko didn't know what he was singing. But this is a verse, somehow or other he was inspired to sing this verse, like over and over again for about 5 minutes on the harmonium. So, interesting. No, then probably he didn't explain it either. I mean, maybe Prabhupada had a sense that these people weren't going to take the Krishna consciousness seriously, because they didn't. They did do some service for Prabhupada and the devotees by letting them use their place and some other services like that, but they didn't really take it seriously. As much as George Harrison did. So yeah, maybe Prabhupada was just sensing that these people aren't gonna, and he was singing this verse because it's saying that their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instruction of others, I mean someone's trying to instruct you, hey, be Krishna conscious, right? Or by their own efforts. It's just not happening, like Hiraṇyakaśipu, or by a combination of both. So, anyways, so after that, Srila Prabhupada, he stopped singing and playing and repeating this verse, and then Prabhupada asked them a question, and the question was, so what philosophy do you follow? And then Yoko Ono said, oh, follow? We just live. And that's what we do. And anyways, they went on a whole number of different questions. But about this, oh, we just live. It was interesting, Prabhupada asked the question right after he sang this verse. He said, what philosophy? Oh, we just live. Was this living, or so-called living, because it's not really living, ultimately. It's, as this particular verse is saying, punascharvata charvananam, it's chewing the chewed. It means it's already been chewed, like, give it up, it's... So in other words, people keep on doing the same things over and over and over again, knowing very well, it's, at least deep down inside, knowing very well it just doesn't work. In other words, it's a cheap happiness, it's not really satisfying me. They're just chewing the chewed. Srila Prabhupada gives example, nice tilak. You put that on yourself, or your wife put it on? I guess your wife's in Singapore, so she couldn't do that. You could only do so many things online. One devotee, just on a side note, and we'll get back to. But one devotee said that he was asking my teacher, His Holiness Guru, he was asking him, oh, it just, we have the YouTube. Like, why should we come to the temple? Actually, could be a bit of a problem, Anyways, it's another thing. But he said, we have YouTube, but why come to the temple? And then my switch said, well, it's true. You could do so many things on the temple. I mean, so many things on YouTube. You could hear so much, and it was very good. But he said, there's one thing you can't do online. He said, that's take prasadam. So he said, at least you should come to the temple for that, to take prasadam. But, a special prasadam from Radha Giridhari. You can't get that, online. Well, I don't know if we do that. I don't know if there's a Radha Giridhari DoorDash program started yet, but they're thinking about it. Yeah, and he said to associate with devotees, close association, close, speaking and friendship. You can't really do that online. So, but yeah, this chewing the chewed, Prabhupada tells a story in relation to this, chewing the chewed. Anyways, I'll relate the story to this particular point because it could have many different points. This story. But Prabhupada tells a story of a man, and this man had a donkey, Sargal Singh, right? Now, at one point this man's donkey died, and then he shaved his head. But most people say, well, you should shave your head too. I haven't shaved my head. I was meaning to, but I didn't. Anyway, so this man, he shaved his head because that's the custom in India. When somebody loved one dies, and you shave your head. So then they came and they saw this man, and they said, "Oh, I see that you shaved your head. Did someone die?" And he said, "Yeah, someone died. Sargal Singh, you know." He said, and then he said, "Oh, okay." And then he shaved his head, right? And then it went on like that. His neighbor shaved his head, his brother shaved his head, and then before you know it, all the men, not the women, but all the men of the town, they're all shaving their head, and then nobody's asking, who is this Sargal Singh? So then it goes all the way up to the person in charge of the town, and then the person in charge of the town says, "Why is everybody shaving their head? What happened?" And then the man said, "Oh, you don't know? Sargal Singh is dead." And then the man in charge of the town, "Who is Sargal Singh?" And nobody's asking, right? So then the man, he traces back everyone, and he goes to the original person who shaved their head, and they said, "Oh, who is Sargal Singh?" And he said, "Oh, Sargal Singh? So that's my donkey." Sreshwar likes that one. So just to do something because other people are doing it, but there's no good reason to do it. There's no higher reason to do it, and you don't know and you don't ask. That's foolish. So you'd say, "Oh, my parents lived a particular way." I mean, with all due respect, sorry, but say my parents lived a particular way, namely materialistic, chewing the chewed, right? Not Krishna conscious. Oh, I should do that too. I should chew the chewed as well. Or my grandparents, or my family, or we see the civilization, it's a civilization of chewing the chewed. Oh, so I should do that too. But we should ask, okay, well, why should I do that? And does it make sense to do that? In other words, just live materialistic life. And by investigating that, whether it makes sense or not, hopefully we have enough good intelligence, and hopefully we have enough fortune to understand that that's not how we should be living our human form of life, namely just on sense gratification and no God realization. We should hopefully come to that conclusion. And Prabhupada quotes the verse, Bhogeshvara Prasaktanam Taya Parahita Chetasam, that those whose minds are too attached to sense enjoyment. So the idea is that we have to detach our minds from sense enjoyment. Because if we're too attached to sense enjoyment, then the resolute determination for devotional service doesn't take place, and also material opulence. Prabhupada, the one reporter asked him about his disciples, and they were hinting at how certain institutions, when the founder leaves, they tend to fight over property, over money, over opulence. Like in the Gaudiya Math, that's what happened. Litigation for many years, I think decades. Yeah. So one reporter asked Prabhupada, "Oh, will this happen to your disciples?" And Prabhupada, he gave a very interesting answer. He said, "Oh no, this won't happen." He said, "A lot of my disciples are from America, they're from Europe. They don't really, they had all that. before, and they rejected it. They renounced it for Krishna consciousness. So it's interesting. But anyways, the temptations there are sense enjoyment, material opulence, right? That's what people go after. Hiraṇyakaśipu type of life. Hiranya gold, Kashipu's soft bed or sense gratification. So yeah, we have to be careful, and therefore we need a taste. We need a higher taste. Means we need a taste for Krishna consciousness. And that will come by Mahat Sevam Dvara Mahor Vimukte, that if we learn how to serve a Mahat, or a great soul, and specifically one of the things that this is indicating, points that this is indicating, is that one should search for a spiritual master. I mean, many people here have a spiritual master already, so the search is over. But for those who do not have a spiritual master, you could search for a spiritual master and try to learn how to be a disciple and actually become a formal disciple of a particular spiritual master. But then, upon accepting a spiritual master, it's not that it's over. It's like, okay, great. Yeah, initiation means beginning. So it's not that it's over. It means there's so much service to do for the spiritual master, for the guru, and also for the devotees. There's so many great souls that we could serve. And when we're searching for a spiritual master, and when we're searching for devotees who we should closely associate with, we should be looking for a particular thing or particular qualities. And that's stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada quotes, Mahatmanas tumam partha, that the great souls are not deluded. They are under the protection of divine nature. They fully engage in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So, people sometimes ask, where is Srimati Radharani in the Bhagavad Gita? They also ask, where is she in the Bhagavatam? She's there in the Bhagavatam, hidden. And she's also there in the Bhagavad Gita, hidden. Prabhupada mentions this. He mentioned this in a talk in old Bombay, in that he quoted this verse, Mahatmanas tumam partha, daivim prakritimashita, that the deluded souls are under Maya, they're under illusion. But the Mahatmas, the great souls, they are under the divine nature, Daivi Prakriti. And Srila Prabhupada explains, who is that? That is Srimati Radharani. And practically what does it mean? It means they're fully engaged in devotional service because they know me. Means they are convinced of Krishna. They're convinced of Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore they engage in devotional service fully. A Mahatma is engaged 24 hours a day, as explained in the following verses. Unless one adheres to such a great personality, one cannot understand Krishna. So this is the way to, you could say, become fully Krishna conscious, is that we have to take shelter of a Mahatma. So yeah, there's a whole process. Accepting a spiritual master, engaging in the process of devotional service, getting free from the unwanted things in the heart, and going all the way up to love for Krishna. So yeah, we should want that taste, and we should understand it's very important, because else, I mean, it's without you could say awakening that taste for Krishna consciousness in this particular age of Kali Yuga, one is sure to become degraded. They're sure to be influenced by Kali Yuga, to say the least, which is, just suffering. And this is what the next verse is going to talk about. People who are unable to take to Krishna consciousness and the bad results of that. Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, can you pass him a mic, please? Triveda Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I'm trying to find it in this conversation. I have the conversation up when he was talking to Prabhupada, and you're right, as he just quotes this, as you point out. It looks like he quotes it several times, Matuna Krishna. But one thing that I heard had happened there, because there was a picture on the wall, right, of Yoko Ono and John Lennon. And I think Prabhupada was probably told that they're into drugs. They were into heroin at that time. Mm-hmm. And so they look kind of out of it in the picture. So they asked Prabhupada, because he talked about the need for a guru. Well, how do we recognize the guru that we should surrender to? So he said, you find that person who is most addicted to Krishna, and he's the guru. Mm-hmm. He thought they could relate to that.
Yeah.
By the way, this is neither here nor there, but many of you know, some of you may not know, that John Lennon was murdered in New York City in like 78, 79.
Did they catch the murderer?
Yeah, they got the guy. But that was the Dakota hotel or something they were living in. That was like right down the street from the temple. Mm. I was living there at the time, and it was like a huge, story, and there was a lot of disturbance at that time. Yeah, and some guy just for no reason just shot him. It's crazy.
Yeah, Prabhupada also in that conversation, because they were asking, well, what's the best mantra? And then Prabhupada, he used like drug references. Yeah, it's like prescription drug references, but still, And he said, well, if you go to the drugstore and you don't just pick one, but you have to go to the doctor's prescription and all this, Prabhupada was explaining. So, and how the Vedas, they prescribe the chanting of Hare Krishna as the main process for this age. So, yes.
Thank you for the class. You mentioned a very deep topic about how we can give up our sense gratification mood, and you said that we should get a test, higher test, like Srila Prabhupada speaks. And here we can see that through the service to Mahatmas, but understand that not every service can give us this test. And also our nature is like soul ananda, and we look for this ananda but in the wrong place, and very difficult to do it but only by efforts. What do you think what we should do more? Maybe because of we try to do it a long time, and this struggle continue. Many reasons. I understand that sometimes we try to start fire and put water simultaneously.
Well. All services, you could say, because they're connected with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they're blissful. It's a question of our consciousness trying to understand what we're doing and trying to, you could say, tune in, if you want to call it that. Because when you're listening to old radio systems, maybe people don't have a lot of people don't listen to radio nowadays, they listen to podcasts or so many other things, but old radio system was, okay, you're tuning the dial. It's shh, and then you tune, and then you hear some Christian preacher tune, okay, I don't want that, and you keep on. Maybe you do, I don't know, but you're tuning, and then you get a cleared channel, right? Utah Hare Krishna Churu, he's giving talks on the Bhagavad Gita, right? So it's like tuning in. So similarly with our spiritual activities, whether that's hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, whether that's chanting or japa, whether that's engaging in deity worship, or means cooking or puja, or whether that's sweeping, whatever it is, whatever we're doing, Harinam, there's a way to tune out, means whatever, inattentive, or think about other things, or whatever it may be. And there's a way to tune in, to really concentrate and focus and try to please Krishna. So if we do that, then yeah, it's blissful. But yeah, of course, it could be more challenging for, depending on our situation, it could be more challenging, but depending on our conditioning. But as Prabhupada would say, again and again, the easiest method is just to take shelter of the chanting of the holy names. That's really the method. And like once when Prabhupada was in San Francisco, this man was saying, oh, my mind, and he was complaining that the mind was giving him issues, right? Disturbed, whether it's like envious or angry or whatever it is, just causing disturbance. And then Prabhupada said, you just have to chant. And then well, what about my mind? And Prabhupada said, well, you have to chant. And then he said, this is the medicine. You have to take you have to chant. So we should take that seriously, that how do I get a taste? Well, first of all, we have to not neglect chanting our rounds seriously, not neglect kirtans and so on. If we engage in those activities, then the taste will come gradually. Yeah, so I hope that. Does anybody have any other?
Hare Krishna?
Yes, we'll take your comment now.
It's not a comment, it is a question.
Okay.
May I?
Yes.
Yes, Balaram Prabhu, thank you very much. You're most kind. Dandavat pranams. And thank you for your class. The quote from the purport goes as follows. Actually, it is the last sentence of the purport. Quote, unless one is properly trained by a Mahatma, or an alloyed devotee of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's understanding Krishna and his devotional service, unquote. So based on this quote, my question is, what are the symptoms of a Mahatma? That is my question.
Yeah. Yeah. Mogalila has a verse in his mind. You have a mic? Tatikshava Karunaka, right?
Dikshava Karunaka Surhridam Sarvadehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhubhushanaha.
You give the English?
A sadhu or a Mahatma is Titikshava Karunaka. He's very tolerant and merciful. Suhridam Sarvadehinam, and he's the best friend of all living entities. Ajata Shatrava Shanta is very peaceful, and he's very peaceful, and he has no enemies. And these are the decorations a sadhu wears, the ornaments of a sadhu.
You could find this in the 3rd canto, Lord Kapila Dev's teachings.
To his mother Devahuti?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
And I think Dravida Prabhu has coined because there's 8 verses, right? I think.
That's the Sadhu Sangashtaka.
Yeah, Sadhu Sangashtaka, which describes the qualities and activities
and the importance of association.
The importance of the association of sadhus in the 3rd canto, chapter, what is it? 25? No.
It's chapter 25.
Chapter
20 through 27.
20 through 20,
7, that's 8 verses.
7. So that's there. Srila Prabhupada gives a series of talks on the 3rd canto, and he does speak on this verse, Titikshava Karunika, and he relates it to their struggles in Bombay at the time, because they're going through a lot of difficulties there, and how he was saying we have to be tolerant. And he said, yes, they don't want us here. They don't want us here in Bombay. So we could just leave. We have temples all over the world, or we could go to any other city. They're trying to make us leave. But no, we have to tolerate. We have to be tolerate. We have to tolerate. And we have to be merciful that let us stay and we'll give these people Krishna consciousness. And that's what happened. They tolerated, they stayed, and then they built a beautiful temple, and that millions of people over the years have benefited and are still benefiting. Yes.
I don't mean to second guess Amoga, but if I could just add a couple of other slokas.
Sure.
9:13 Bhagavad Gita, who's a Mahatma? Mahatmanas tu mamparta daivim pakatim ashrita bhajanti nanya manaso gyatva bhutaram avyam. Vasanapita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. It continues the next verse. Satatam kirtiyanto mam yatantaschadridavataha namasyantastamam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Continuing to describe a Mahatma, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Yes, thank you very much. But now, if I made a burning question, was Mahatma Gandhi a Mahatma?
Not really, according to Prabhupada.
Well, why not? Why not really?
Because he wasn't really surrendered to Krishna. He was using the Bhagavad Gita to serve his program for ahimsa. He's trying to get non-violence out of the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield, and he didn't emphasize surrender to Krishna and bhakti, and he misused the Bhagavad Gita. That's why.
Yes. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Vijay Krishna Prabhu, there's a saying in relation to Mahatma Gandhi that amongst politicians, he was a philosopher, and amongst philosophers, he was a politician. So.
Yeah.
I see. Amoga Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi in his early days. He was impressed with his austerity and him trying to fight for the freedom of the country and so on. Somehow the Prabhupada was following him. And then meeting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur convinced him that you're trying to, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was saying, you should preach Krishna consciousness, this is the most urgent thing. And then Prabhupada was challenging, they were having some discussion about it. Yeah, so then Prabhupada was saying, we're not independent, we're not even a free country. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, but it's so important that that doesn't matter. You should try to. So he convinced him. And then later Prabhupada had some, critical remarks against Mahatma Gandhi for different reasons, as devotees were stating here. But still, it's interesting, Prabhupada was trying to help him as a friend. He wrote a letter to Mahatma Gandhi, and he said, I am your unknown friend. And he went on this whole letter, and then he said, you should retire from politics, and we could meet together, Prabhupada. So we could meet together, we'll study Bhagavad Gita, we will preach the Bhagavad Gita, and he was going on like this. And he said, if you don't retire soon, you will die a horrible death, and he quoted like some people like Hitler and Mussolini and all of these different people. You'll die like that if you don't retire. Somehow or other, Prabhupada didn't get a response from Mahatma Gandhi, and Mahatma Gandhi continues activities, and he was assassinated.
And he did have a horrible death.
Yes, he did chant Ram. Yes, that's true. Anyways, there's a lot of discussion about Mahatma Gandhi, but we'll stop there. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.